The dust is a shroud. It coats the tongue, fills the lungs, and settles in a fine reed film over every cracked leaf and splintered stone. For the people of the dry branch, this dust is the taste of the end. The rains have forgotten this part of the world, and the game has followed the memory of water over the horizon. Tail, his knuckles white around his flint-tipped spear, stares at the empty plains. His clone, a scant 30 souls, huddles in the sliver of shade offered by a granite overhang. Their faces are masks of hollowed eyes and tight-drawn skin, a portrait of a slow death that began many moons ago. This is prehistoric life at its most brutal, a reality for early humans where every sunrise is a question of survival. An infant's cry, then undreaded, cuts the silence. No one turns. There is no milk, and there has been no meat for 7 suns. Then, the world begins to tremble. It is not the violent shudder of a quake, but a deep, rhythmic pulse that travels up from the soles of their feet into the hollow of their bones. The people stir, fear a cold spark in their bellies. Cal grips his spear tighter, scanning the shimmering heat haze. The pulse grows stronger, a sound felt more than heard, the world's own heartbeat quickening into a terrifying drum. From the north, a moving forest appears. Necks like colossal serpents sway against the pale sky, their heads so high they seem to graze the clouds. The Brachiosaurus herd, walking mountains of flesh and bone, their passage a force of geology. The clan shrinks back, pressing themselves against the rock as the ground shudders with each colossal footfall. The giants are indifferent, their small, placid eyes unaware of the tiny, fleeting lives huddled in their path. They are not predators, but their sheer scale is an existential threat. A single misplaced step could erase the clan from history. A footnote in the deep time of this ancient earth. The air fills with the smell of crushed vegetation and the musky scent of the titans. The herd passes. The thunder recedes, leaving a ringing silence and a world remade in its wake. The parched, cracked earth is now a churned landscape of ruin and revelation. A deep trench, a river of devastation, marks their path. But Iau, the clan's oldest mother, her face a map of droughts and famines, sees something else. She shuffles forward, her movement stiff. She points a trembling, gnarled finger not at the destruction, but at the footprints. Each one is a crater, a basin pressed deep into the clay soil, some as wide as 3 men lying end to end. As she watches, the last of the herd vanishes, and something miraculous happens. Where the immense weight has compressed the earth, the ground itself weeps. Water, squeezed up from some deep, hidden aquifer, begins to pool the bottom of the footprints, creating dozens of small, life-giving ponds. Ilu grunts, a sound of dawning comprehension. She hobbles to the nearest print, scoops a handful of the muddy water, and lets it run over her cracked lips. It is the taste of a future they thought they had lost. The path of the walking mountains is a scar, but within it flows the water of life. The decision is not made with words. It is a silent consensus, a collective turning of faces from the dead rock that was their home to the living, moving horizon. Kale watches as his people, one by one, gather their meager belongings: flint knives, woven grass satchels, a precious fire minus stone. They drink deeply from the footprint pools, their thirst slaked for the first time in an age. He sees the spark of a desperate hope return to their eyes. They will follow the thunder. They will walk in the shadow of the walking mountains. This choice, this single pivot of their collective will, is a defining moment in their hominid history. They abandon the known world for a promise written in mud and water, becoming nomads, not a place, but a phenomenon. Their lives are now tied to the slow, inexorable migration of the Brachiosaurus. A new rhythm takes them. They learn to read the herd. The low, resonant hum that signals movement. The subtle shift in pace that means the giants have found a patch of desirable foliage. They exist in the giant's wake, a river of life trailing a river of titans. The children, their bellies finally full, learn to scramble into the churned earth, pulling fat, white tuberous exposed by the herd's passage. The women follow, their satchels growing heavy with a bounty unimaginable just days ago. The men, led by Kale, from a perpetual guard, their eyes scanning not the sky minus scraping heads of the giants, but the tall, rustling grasses that flank their path. They learn the safe distance close enough to capitalize on the freshly turned earth, far enough to avoid a misplaced foot that could obliterate a man without a thought. They are scavengers of opportunity, parasites on a scale that defies comprehension. This is survival, a perilous symbiosis where their intelligence is their only shield. One evening, they find a sign that chills them. The carcass of a juvenile Brachiosaurus, its immense ribcage torn open. The wounds are not from a large carnivore. They are a flurry of deep, parallel gashes. The work of many smaller attackers working in concert. Kale studies the tracks around the kill. Sure, 3 miners stowed prints with a single, deeply impressed in a claw. He has seen these before, but never so many, never so bold. That night, the calls begin. Not a roar, but a series of high minor pitch, barking chirps that echo from the darkness beyond their small fire. The next day, they see them. A pack of Utahraptors, lean and feathered, moving through the grass with a fluid, terrifying grace. They are shadowing the herd, just as the clan is. They are their competition. One of the clan's younger hunters, Boan, strays too far, lured by a patch of berries. There is a rustle, a single, choked cry. Kane and the others are there in a heartbeat, but it is too late. The raptors are a blur of claws and teeth, their sickle minus like talons flashing. They drag away and into the grass. His screams silenced with chilling speed. The clan stands frozen, a primal fear seizing them. They are no longer merely followers, they are prey. That evening, in grim silence, they find the splintered femur of a long minus dead giant. Using their sharpest flint, Kate and the other hunters begin chipping and grinding, fashioning the bone into heavy, formidable clubs. Their old wooden spears are sticks against this new enemy. This is the birth of their osteodontocratic technology, an arsenal born from the very bones of this world of monsters. The migration lasts for what feels like a lifetime. Seasons turn, marked by the changing angle of the sun and the subtle shifts in the herd's immense appetite. The clan is hardened. The children who were infants are now toddlers who know only the rhythm of the march. The hunters, led by Kale, have become brutally efficient, their bone clubs heavy and sure in their hands. Their eyes constantly scanning for the feathered death that stalks the tall grass. They have lost for more to the Utahraptors, but they have survived. They are a different people now, their fate bound to these walking mountains. Then, one morning, the air changes. It carries a new scent not of dust and dry leaves, but of damp earth, of rotten life in the deep, rich smell of 1,000 flowers. The great necks of the Brachiosaurus herd lift, and a low, resonant series of calls rumbles through the column. They have arrived. Before them lies a valley of impossible green, a vast river delta that splits the land like a gaping wound of life. Water flows in wide, lazy braids, and the trees are heavy with fruit. It is a paradise. And carved into the cliff face on the far side of the nearest tributary is a network of caves, dark mouths promising shelter and safety. High above the valley floor, it is a home, a permanent home. The clan stares, a collective breath held in their lungs. For the first time, they see an end to the wandering, but this paradise is not empty. As they watch, a shape detaches itself from the shadows of the tree line. It is huge, bipedal, but built with a terrifying density. The raptor's leg, an Allosaurus, its massive head crowned with bony ridges, patrols the riverbank. It moves with the arrogant confidence of an apex predator in its domain. The caves are on its land. The entire valley is its killing ground. The hope that had soared in their chests moments before plummets into the cold pit of their stomachs. The Brachiosaurus herd, however, is not deterred. For them, this is the destination. They begin to move down into the valley. their colossal bodies splashing into the shallow parts of the river, their calls echoing off the cliffs. The Allosaurus roars, a saw-toothed sound of fury and territorial rage at this colossal intrusion. It charges at the leg of a sub-adult giant, biting and tearing, but the herd is an avalanche of flesh. It is chaos, and in that chaos sees their only chance. He turns to his clan, his eyes burning with a desperate idea. He doesn't need to speak. They understand. This is the ultimate application of their survival skills and primitive technology, using the living world itself as a tool. As the enraged Allosaurus is occupied, swatting at the indifferent giants, Kale gives the signal. The clan moves. They sprint from the cover of the scrubland, a frantic dash across open ground towards the caves. They are halfway there when the carnivore sees them. It disengages from the herd, its head snapping towards the scurrying figures. A new, easier prey in its sights. It begins to charge. Two of Kale's best hunters, without a word, break from the group. They run perpendicular to the clan, screaming, waving their bone clubs. They throw rocks that bounce harmlessly off the predator's thick hide. A desperate act of altruism. The Allosaurus, its mind simple and direct, diverts its charge towards the more immediate, aggravating threat. The clan scrambles up the rock face, pulling the children and elders with them. A frantic, unified effort. They tumble into the safety of the main cave just as the twin screams below are cut abruptly short. From the mouth of their new home, the clan watches the world that is now theirs. They have paid for it in blood, but they have won. The thunder of the Brachiosaurus is the background music of their new life, and the roar of the thwarted Allosaurus is a reminder of the permanent danger that defines their existence. They have not conquered this land. They have simply carved out a defensible niche through sheer audacity. This is the story of all human ancestors. It is not a tale of dominance, but of intelligence applied against impossible odds. They used the living mountain range as a diversion, a force of nature as a shield. In this single, desperate act, they wrote a new chapter in the ongoing narrative of human evolution, proving that the mind could be a weapon more potent than any claw or tooth. Their victory is the blueprint for our species' improbable ascent, a defiant scroll in the margins of a world that should have crushed them. We look back across the unfathomable gulf of time and see not primitive beasts, but ourselves in the crucible. We see the moment our ancestors refused to be merely prey, and in doing so, laid the first stone for the world we would one day inherit. What is history, if not the collected memory of such impossible choices? For in the echoes of their footsteps, we hear the cadence of our own survival. But in the deep waters of the new river, something ancient and patient was stirring.